Thank you very much, Rabbi Gil Student, for giving the shir tonight. Tonight's shir is sponsored for Refuah Shlema for Yisrael Meir ben Daphne Beruria.
Shalom Aleichem. Good evening, everybody. So nice to be back to this wonderful night kollel here. The topic I'm talking about tonight is social media and how the proper way to behave on social media. And I'll tell you why I chose this topic. Last week I got a call from a journalist, from a reporter on the Religion News Service. That's like the Associated Press for religious media, not any one religion in particular. And the question, she had found an article I wrote a number of years ago for the Orthodox Union's magazine, Jewish Action, and she wanted to know, she asked me, what does Judaism have to say about proper behavior on social media? So where do you start? It's a very broad topic. So I told her one Gemara. I told the story as follows. When Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was on his deathbed, his Talmidim came to him and they talked. And towards the end of the conversation, they said, Rebbe, give us a bracha. And his bracha was, your yira shamayim should be as great as your fear, as your yira of basar v'dam, of other people. And they said, that's it? That's all? And he said, halavai, you should have that much fear. People go on the internet and on the apps and on the phones, and they think they're anonymous, and they do whatever they want, and they say things that are inappropriate, as Mr. Shem will talk about a little bit, and they think nobody's watching. So of course Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is watching everything, but halavai, they should even realize, or they should even think and consider that other people can see what they do, and even if they're anonymous, doesn't mean they'll always remain anonymous. But their yira shamayim should at least be that they fear that maybe someone will see them and see what they write and see how they speak about other people, and that they should improve. So the question of whether we should even talk about such things in a base medrash like this. There's a Gemara in Bava Basra. Rabbi Yochanan was talking about teaching the halachas of how to steal in business. And he prefaced his remarks by saying, Oili im omar, oili im lo omar. Woe to me if I talk about it, because people will hear what I'm saying and they might get ideas of how to steal in business. He doesn't want to encourage that. On the other hand, Oilim lo amar, but if I don't say anything, they'll think the rabbis have nothing to say about these issues. But they do. The Torah has something to say about everything in life. And that includes business, and that includes how we act in our behavior on the street with our friends, and also on social media. So there's no implied endorsement here of being on social media, but the conclusion of the Gemara of Rabbi Yochanan was, Yesharim darchei Hashem, tzadikim yelchuvam, u'rishayim kashluvam. We're going to learn Torah. Torah is Torah, and a tzaddik will benefit from it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to learn a little Torah here, if I can. So just to define what we're talking about a little bit, social media is any way of talking to other people electronically, whether it's on your phone, on the internet, on a computer. We're all familiar with these things. WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, there's so many. Yeshiva World Coffee Room, that's also social media. Comments on a newspaper or website, that's also social media. So we're going to be talking about those types of matters. So I thought we could start out with a very difficult to understand Ramah in Choshen Mishpat, the Siman Resh Chav Ches, the beginning. So there's an Issa Deraisa of Onaz Devarim. Exactly what that means we're going to define. So it's basically insulting someone. So the Ramah says you're allowed to insult someone who insults himself. So Nimuka Yosef in Bava Metzia. Why? Why should it be? So the Achronim try to figure it out. So the Beis Yosef says maybe the Nimuka Yosef says it because that person's a Rasha. If he's insulting himself, he's a Rasha. So the halachas these such halachas don't apply to a Rasha like him. Okay, maybe, or the Sma says something a little differently. He's matir himself. Once he insults himself, he's giving a heter to everybody else. It's a very difficult to understand Ramah. So we can understand perhaps as follows. There's a Mishnah in Bava Metzia talking about onaz devarim. Kishem she'onah b'mekach u'memkar. Just like you're not allowed to cheat someone in business when selling them things. Kach onah b'dvarim. You're also not allowed to do onah, insult them in words. Lo yomar lo. So these are three examples that the Mishnah says. Lo yomer lo bekama chayfet zeh v'hoina rosa likach. You can't go to a store and say, how much does this cost, when you have no intention of buying, because you're wasting the time of the merchant and you're raising his hopes and then dashing them. So if you have an actual intent and you ask how much does it cost, and you say, well, that's crazy, that's way too high, so you didn't do anything wrong, you're allowed to inquire if you're serious. But if you have no intention whatsoever of buying, you're just playing games with him. That's case number one. Case number two, im haya bal tshuva, someone who used to be not from, who did a virus in his youth, lo yomer lo zachor ma'asecha rishonim. You're not allowed to say, remember when you used to eat bacon double cheeseburgers. You're not allowed to say that to someone. And the third case is imhu ben gerim, if he's not a convert, the son of converts, you're not allowed to say, lo yomer lo zachor ma'aseh avosecha. Remember what your parents, what your ancestors used to do. So Tosfos on this Mishnah says, it's lo zu av zo. It's in order, it's in decreasing order. So not only are you not allowed to go into a store and ask how much it costs and hurt the owner that way, not only that, you're not allowed to tell about tshuva, remember your old sins. And not only that, you're not allowed to tell the son of Gerim, remember the sins that your parents used to do. So it's hard to see how those are decreasing. If anything, the middle is the worst. You're telling someone who used to do a virus, remember what you used to do. It's embarrassing. It's just, that's worse. That's worse than telling a ger about a ben gerim about what his parents used to do. It's hard to understand how it's a decreasing order. How is lo zu af zo? So the Gemara in the continuation says 3 people go to Gehenna. And they say, what do you mean 3 people go to Gehenna? 3 kinds of people go to Gehenna. Many types. So the Gemara says 3 types of people go to Gehenna and never come back. They never go up after that. What are the 3? One is someone who's an adulterer. Another is someone who embarrasses people. And the third is someone who called a mechana shemra lechavero. You call someone by a bad nickname, an insulting nickname. Says the Gemara, but aren't you, if you call someone by an insulting nickname, isn't that embarrassing him? How is that 3? It's 2. So says the Gemara, something, wow. So, no, Avagav de Dush Bebishmei. Yeah, he's used to the name. He's not offended by it. It's okay. He knows the name. He's heard it a million times. He's been called Fat Jake since he was a little kid. And it doesn't really bother him. Even still, someone like that goes to Gehenna and doesn't come back up. So how could it be? So it says Rashi goes even further. He's already used to that people calling him by that insulting nickname. And he doesn't get embarrassed by it. But the person who said it intended to insult him, to embarrass him. But still, so what's going on? So David Bleich, Rabbi J. David Bleich, one of the Gaonim of our time. So he wrote an article in the journal Hadarim, I think in 1970s. He explains as follows. There's a Rambam in Hilchos Mechira, Perikei Daled Alachei Daled, talking about Onos Devarim. Says as follows. You're not allowed to ask a shaila to someone, not just a halacha shaila, any kind of question to someone who is not an expert in the subject. If he's an expert, right, he might not know every detail. Nobody knows everything. You can ask him a tough question. You could go to an expert and ask him a tough question. And he might be embarrassed. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I don't know that. That's fine. You're not intending to hurt him. You're not doing. You're not trying. You just want to know the truth. But someone who doesn't know anything, you can't go to him and ask him because that's embarrassing. So it seems to be the exact opposite. So a chacham, someone who knows this subject, is an expert, and you ask him something, you could actually cause him pain. It's pretty embarrassing to me, be up here and be the expert in watches, and you ask me about some obscure watch, and I'm totally embarrassed in public. That's mutter. You're allowed to do that. But someone who doesn't know anything, the truth is, I don't know anything about watches. I bought this online for like $20. I don't know anything about watches. You ask me, I'm not going to be embarrassed. I don't know anything about it. Who's the top quarterback in the NFL today? You know what? I don't even know what the names of the football teams are anymore. It's been so many years. I'm not embarrassed that I don't know. Ask my sons. If they don't know, they should be embarrassed. So as for Bloich as follows. How is on? So so it's true there are two psukim in Parshas Bahar talking about Onah, right near each other. But so the word Onah is mammon, cheating someone in business, and Onah is devarim, insulting someone with words. How are they connected? It's very hard to find. What's the tzad sheva? What's the common denominator here? Is it just that it's one word that has two different meanings? It seems totally separate. So he wants to suggest as follows. Onah means taking something away from somebody. So onah is mammon, you're taking money away from somebody unjustly that you have no right to take. Onah is devarim, you're also taking something improperly. You're taking away their respect. You're showing that you do not respect them anymore. And by your talking to them in that manner, by insulting them, you are demeaning them, and that takes away from their respect. Your language is devaluing them. Okay, so let's go backwards. So even if you aren't hurt, it could still be onos devarim. If I devalue you, if I tell you if I say something that pushes you down, that's onos devarim, even if you don't care. So the Rambam is talking about an expert, right? If you ask a question to an expert and he doesn't know it, you might hurt him. You might embarrass him. That could be a separate isser. Could not be. But you're not devaluing him. Adarabah, you're showing him respect. I know you're the expert in watches, so I'm going to go to you with my tough questions. But if you come to me and ask about watches, you know I don't know anything. You're just trying to put me down. You're trying to show that I'm a nothing. When it comes to watches, I'm zero. And it's true, but you're taking something away from me. You're taking away that respect. If you call someone by a nickname, Fat Jake, he might have heard that a million times, but you know why you're calling him Fat Jake? Because you don't think he's a good person. You're demeaning him. You're diminishing him. So even if Dashbei, even if he's used to it, it's still, and what does Rashi say? L'chach niskaven. That's what you intended to do. You intended to demean him. That's the Isser of Onos Devarim. So let's talk about the Mishnah's order. Going to a store owner and wasting his time. You don't care about him. You're saying you're worthless. I know you're working hard to support your family, but that's nothing. My time, my fun is more important than your time. You're demeaning him and devaluing him, and you're saying you're not important. The same, by the way, is crank calls. I mean, that's the essence. If you could bottle up what is demeaning and devaluing somebody, that's what a crank call is. You call someone up and you waste their time just so you can have fun at their expense. About Tshuva, talking about his old experiences. So you're telling him, you know what? I know you might be good now, but you weren't always. So with the store owner, you're saying now you're worthless. The Baal Tshuva, you're saying you used to be worthless. So that's one level down. And then the son of Gerim, you're saying you were always worth something, but your parents, they weren't worth something. So that's even a lesser level, and that's what Tosfos means. Lo zu av zu is going down in how you demean somebody. Even if it hurts. Could hurt more. That's not what we're talking about. Onos Dvarim is not about hurting someone. That could be something else. Onos Dvarim is about demeaning somebody. So now let's go back to the Ramah. Someone who demeans himself already, he doesn't have that respect. If someone has no self-respect, there's really not much you could take away from him. I don't recommend it. I don't think the Ramah was recommending insulting people either. But someone who has no respect already and is already so demeaned, you're not really taking anything away from them. I'm not sure anyone passes like this Ramah Allah Maisa. It's very difficult Ramah. But if we're trying to understand it, that is one mahalach in understanding the Ramah. Okay, so let's go back to social media. If you could take insulting and demeaning people as an art form, that would be social media. It's there. Not everybody. Chalila, to say everybody is like that. But that is very much a part of the culture. There's a Rambam in Hilchos Deis, I think at the beginning of Perek Vav, who says that everybody is influenced by the people around them. So you should go and surround yourself by people who are tzaddikim. And if you live in a place where everyone's a Rasha, he says, run to the mountains. Get away live in a cave. Get out of there. So if you go on social media, from what I've heard, You could surround yourself with people who are demeaning and devaluing and insulting other people, or you could surround yourself with tzaddikim and people who share divrei Torah. And there's a guy on Twitter. What does he do? He goes around to Sfarim stores, looks at the new Sfarim, takes pictures of them, and tweets them. It's a good thing. You can see what's coming. I don't get to go to the Sfarim store all the time, and even when I do, I don't get to buy everything. But at least a little desire in me. I could create a birthday wish list. That's a beautiful thing. There you can share different Torah. There are ways to do things positively, from what I understand. But demeaning people, this is so common in our culture. I'm not trying to be political in any way here. I'm just going to say a phrase you've all heard and has become part of the culture people don't even realize. Crooked Hillary. Imagine how she feels. Whether it's true or not, that's not what I'm saying. You're demeaning somebody. And if you're in a political contest, and there's money at risk, and there are all sorts of things, so people in those leagues have different cheshbonos than people like us. We should not be around people who talk that way. And we are, and sometimes we talk that way ourselves. And that's unhealthy. It's unhealthy in the back of shul during Kiddush, and it's unhealthy even more so on your phone and on your computer. So these halachas and those dvarim, mechan Hashem l'chavero, apply on all media. So I'm going to talk about a few more things with the understanding that interaction between Adam l'chavero cannot be covered in 30 minutes, whether it's social media or real life. There's so much to talk about. And I'm also talking about myself because, frankly, I'm not such an angel myself. We all need to improve and work on it. And the more we talk about it, the more we'll think about keeping things in our mind. So I'd like to talk about Instagram. It tends to be, and I hate to generalize this, but it tends to be more for the women than for the men, just where people tend to flock from what I've observed. But it's about posting pictures online, on social media. So the halachic shaila is involved in this. And not everybody is so sensitive to it at first, and we should be. So number one, it goes without saying that any picture you post on anything has to be of people fully clothed and in no way suggestive in any way. That goes without saying. You're all bali seichel, you know such things. And number two, there are such a thing as a hurtful picture. So I was a teenager once, and I did stupid things. I'm sure nobody here has ever done anything stupid. And if someone caught that picture and blasted it all over the world, it would be very hurtful. It would be very hurtful. Malbin pnei chaveru barabim. It's not something you want to be by posting someone or a picture of me normal with a silly caption under me, making me look silly. Even if I am silly, even if I am doing something stupid, you know what happens if you post it in public? Malbim pnei chaveru barabim. Not to mention what we said, Onos Devarim applies. Lashon Hara. So the onkelos on the pasuk lo selech rachel be'amecha, uncle said lo seichel kurtzin. What does it mean? So Rashi says, don't make motions with your eyes. According to onkelos and Rashi, Lashon Hara can even be done by rolling your eyes, by looking in another direction. You don't have to say it for it to be Lashon Hara. You can even just motion it. You could point. You could roll your eyes. You can nod. You can blink. So posting a picture can consist of Lashon Hara. So when you think of pictures and when you post pictures, be very careful. So here's the question. Can you post a picture of someone without their permission? This actually happens all the time. You're in a restaurant with your wife, it's a date night, I don't know, it's the anniversary, there's someone behind your wife, you take a picture of your wife, and you catch people behind them, and you post it to whatever account you have to show people, look, I'm so great, I took my wife out to dinner, that's how fancy we are. We fight all the time, we don't have to put that on social media, but the one time we're actually smiling, well, take that picture, and behind them are other people. Can you post that to social media? So if you think about it, think of the damage you could do. Let's say behind you is someone on a job interview. And you post that picture and his boss sees it. He could get fired. People are dating. Their families hate each other. They're not yet ready to to pull the trigger and create World War III over their upcoming, if it happens, engagement. But you post a picture prematurely, you could cause a shidduch to never happen. And there are many such circumstances that you can think of. I'm not that creative. I'm sure you're more creative than I am. So even by accident, by posting a picture of someone else online, you could cause trouble. And you don't want such things. You could be revealing a secret. And Mishlei says, Holech rochel megal esod. If you reveal a secret, you're saying Lashon Hara. So when it comes to, so we're talking about posting picture, but there's also Shiloh, we can relate that to another Shiloh that comes up. Api Kabbalah, at least there used to be, I don't know if anybody still holds this, a problem of taking picture of somebody. When the whole idea of a photograph first came out, the cameras first came out, so some Mikubalim were saying, it's terrible because you're taking the essence of a person. I don't understand it, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but you're putting it on a picture, and that is a problem. And there were many Rebbes who refused to have their picture taken. So the Shiloh was, can I take a picture of them, of a Rebbe, without their permission? You know how much that's worth? You know how much I could sell that for? It's good. It's a good schora. So are you allowed to take a picture of someone who holds this usher to have their picture taken? So Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld, Paskin, yes, he has a tshuva. He says, if I hold, it's not damaging, so I can take a picture of someone, and I'm not damaging anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not hurting you. So you think it's hurting. Okay. That's your concern. My concern is it's perfectly mutter and I'm not doing anything. So Rav Sonnenfeld Paskin, it's in Shuvas Salmas Chaim, Chelik Beis Siman Yates, you could look it up. He says, if I hold his mutter, I could take a picture of somebody. I don't need their permission. So Menashe Klein, he disagreed. Menashe Klein, he thought you can't cause damage to someone who thinks it's damage, even if he says the reverse svara. But he says even more. Oh, he says even better. I mean, he says, even if he'll damage himself, he's okay. He'll take his own picture, but he has to give you permission to take his picture. Because okay, I could punch myself. Doesn't mean you can punch me. I have to give you permission. So then he says even more. A picture of a Rebbe you could sell for money. If the Rebbe wanted, he could take his own picture and sell it. So therefore, you're causing him a loss of money, and that's nezikin. That's also, you're not allowed to cause him a loss of money. So Rav Shlomo Aviner points out, not so much a loss of money. It's very, very indirect cause of loss of money. But Rav Shlomo Aviner in a tshuva, he says as follows. He says, you don't need this whole cheshbon. The whole cheshbon is very nice that the Menashe Klein had. You don't need it all. All you need is one pasuk. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You wouldn't want someone to treat you like that. If you hold this aser to have your picture taken, someone's stealing something from your neshama somehow, you wouldn't want them to come take a picture of you. So don't take a picture of them. It's just common sense. Common sense goes very far. And this is a mitzvah deraisa, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. So when posting a picture online, think about it that way. Think about what I want myself to be posted online in that form.
What's shvat kamocha? Kamocha is the way you would treat yourself, or the way you would have others.
Oh, okay. So the Rambam, when he talks about the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim and Nichum Avelim, so he says it's a derabanan, and it's you're mekayim v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. So the Mefarshim ask, well, what is it? Is it derabanan or ahavta l'reacha kamocha deraisa? The derabanan deraisa. So the general, everybody has their own small nuance, but the general approach of the Achronim is as follows: if you would not want it yourself, then or you would. If you want someone to come dance at your chasana, so then it's v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It's a mitzvah deraisa to dance at someone else's chasana. But you know what? I don't like dancing. So I don't want you to come to. I've invited as few people as possible to my chasana because I didn't want to have to deal with a headache. But so for me, it's a mitzvah derabanan to dance at your chasana. So v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha is I want people to treat me I have to treat people like I want them to treat myself. And there's a mitzvah derabanan that I have to treat people the way they want to be treated. So either way, it's a good question. It's a question whether it's deraisa or derabanan.
But the person would allow his own picture taken.
So if you'd allow,
is that as far as if I didn't like a picture taken of me, then I wouldn't. Even though I would want it.
So if I didn't want a picture taken of me, right. So if I didn't want a picture taken of me, for me to take a picture of someone else is deraisa. That is v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha mamish. Just like I don't want a picture, I want people to love me and not take a picture of me. I have to love them and not take a picture of them. But if I'm okay with taking a picture of me, you know what? Post it wherever you want. It's okay. I'm not saying. I'm just in theory. If I would say such a thing.
Remember, Menashe Klein doesn't agree with that story. He holds that if I would have taken a picture of myself, then it's wrong to say a svara that just because if I wouldn't have wanted a picture taken of myself, I shouldn't take one of you.
So Rav Zonenfeld, who permits it, doesn't come up to this.
No, I'm saying the reason why Menashe Klein needed the whole shilshal rather than saying that question.
You could say I'm not sure such a raya because he goes straight to Nezikin and so V'aftal Re'echa Kamocha is a little more fluffy, mushy. It's a little hard to delineate. But Rav Zonderfeld, who permitted it, so maybe I don't know. But that should be our klal gadol in our life of how we treat other people, both in real life and in social media and in any way. Is v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Think about it. Take a step back. It's not easy. Nobody says it's easy. It's just in life, as you know. You get caught in the moment. You get caught in the surroundings, and you have to take a step back and think about is that the way I want to be treated? Is that the way they want to be treated? And I think there's obviously much more to say, and I'm probably not the right person to say it anyway. But the klal gadol in our behavior in every way possible should be under this rubric of v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, for paying attention, and for being involved. And Mr. Shem, we should all grow in this mitzvah of deraisa v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.